Stephen the Rifleman Flemmi was on the stand for a fourth day today and took some withering cross-examination from defense attorney Hank Brennan. Things got ugly early today as defense attorney Hank Brennan tried to portray Stephen Flemmi as a child abuser, a man who had sexual relations with Deborah Hussey, a girl he raised as his stepdaughter. But Flemmi shot back. Pointing at Whitey Bulger, he said, "You want to see a pedophile? Look over at that table." Flemmi says Bulger took an underage girl on a trip to Mexico. Most of the day, though, focused on the murders of two women, Deborah Hussey and Deborah Davis, with Flemmi admitting he lured both Hussey and Davis to their deaths because they knew too much and watched as Bulger choked the life out of them. Flemmi also admitted he was an FBI informant, saying he had a quid pro quo relationship with the FBI. Flemmi is expected back on the stand tomorrow. And WGBH's Philip Martin is here along with Anthony Cardinale, who's represented members of the Italian mafia and is now a lawyer for one of Bulger's alleged victims. Welcome to both of you. So
thanks, Emily.
That was quite a day there in court, Philip, when he right away is pointing to Whitey Bulger as a pedophile.
That's right. I mean, sordid is of course the descriptive term for what we heard today, and you can imagine what's happening with both of these individuals. Flemmi is fighting to maintain his reputation. He's known as the Rifleman. The Rifleman is one thing; to be known as a pedophile is another. And what the defense, I think, succeeded in showing was that he in fact had sexual relationships with his stepdaughter, someone who had sat on his knee as a child, and what we also found
he said, I should interrupt, he said it was consensual.
He said it was consensual. Of course,
oral sex.
There's no such thing as consensual with a child.
No, let's get it straight.
Not a child. I'm sorry, she was an adult
over
at the time.
18, but I'm not justifying anything here, but.
But the point is, this was a relationship. This is a stepdaughter that he had relationships with, and Anthony is right. This did not occur when she was a child. However, we heard in other testimony from a previous deposition that he may have had relationships with another woman years ago, which was a woman named Michelle Davis, which was Deborah Davis' sister, as a child. And so the defense effort to portray him as a pedophile, I think, worked. And if this was about reputation, his reputation is sullied. He's no longer just known as the Rifleman, a fearsome person out there in the streets. He's also known, if this sticks with the jury and with others, as a pedophile. This has already been known to some degree in various books. But that's a lot of people don't read those books. And now, of course, this has been made public. We see something that we see this man being vilified in the public arena. And I think what that does is, and what the defense hoped, I think it does, and Anthony may beg to disagree, but I think that it detracts to some degree from Bulger, to the degree at least that Bulger is intent on having one aspect of his reputation salvaged, and that is that he did not kill women. And I think that this is what the defense has been leading up to. Okay. They've been trying to present a defense that Bulger did not kill these two women.
That didn't work today because Flemmi said over and over again that Whitey Bulger did kill those two women.
More importantly, every effort they make to vilify, to use your term, or to demonize Flemmi, it just serves to reflect back on their client, because the evidence in the case is very clear that for 20 years, from 1974 to 1994, they were together every day, unless they were on vacation somewhere. So everything they do to Flemmi is reflecting back on their own client. I have no idea what they're doing, and it's an interesting defense to say, I killed everybody else, but not the two women. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just bizarre. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what kind of defense they're running, other than they're being mouthpieces for a guy running his own pro se, non-legal defense. And that's what's going on in this courtroom. He's trying to salvage, he being Bulger, to try to salvage his tough guy reputation by saying, I wasn't an informant and I didn't kill those women. Now, what you saw today also, the lead up to what he's about to launch into in terms of a defense, is he's trying to establish the credibility of and the importance of the information that Flemmi gave to the FBI as an informant, just how important it was to the mandate of the FBI to take down Italian organized criminal figures, and at any cost they would do that. And he made a very big point towards the end of the cross-examination, just how important Bulger was. I mean, strike that, how important Flemmi was to that effort. But they're forgetting that that information was passed to the FBI by Bulger. And Bulger is maybe trying to say, I wasn't the informant, my partner was the informant, but he's the one passing the information. He's just as guilty.
I mean, at one point, too, Brennan was really pushing Flemmi on some of these murders, and he got confused. He got confused about the details, and he admitted that they all ran in together, that he couldn't really. It was about, did I pick up Deborah Davis? Was she already at the house? Did I give her? He couldn't even remember.
Well, it's true. Numerous times, or I should say several times, Brennan had to walk right up to the witness and show him depositions from 2006, a civil suit in 2006, and basically said, you said this. And a lot of the conflict was over, was it a rope or did he strangle, I'm trying to remember if it was Hussey or Davis, with both, right, with his hands, or was it a rope? And those details are important in the view of the defense because, again, it talks about, it addresses the veracity of the statements coming from Flemmi and his memory. And you're right, there was a lot of confusion about who he killed. He could not remember at one point who was the first person he killed in Boston. He was asked that question, who was the first person you killed in Boston? He said, I can't remember. And again, that suggests, like that this is someone who is so violent, which, again, it's something the defense said, it was something they're trying to assert, that these things run into each other. I mean, they run into each other like water and oil.
The problem is they run into each other, and all those roads that they're running into lead right to Bulger, because he was Bulger's partner. Everything he did is reflected on Bulger. And I agree that he was kind of shaky about the 1960s so-called gang war murders, but because there were a lot of them and there was a lot of different roles that he played, that he wanted him to tell me which one you're talking about, and I'll let you know. I just can't go through them all without, give me the list and I'll go through it. But I mean, it's staggering testimony. It's not the kind of thing you see anywhere, anytime, in any courtroom. So it's kind of historical in that way.
I mean, we want to know, is there any kind of remorse? Is he contrite? Is he reflective at all? Is he thinking, how did I ever do that? Or is it just all, it was business and this is...
I picked up no remorse. This was not like the John Martirano moment. John Martirano, the hitman, had one moment when he was on the stand where he essentially said he regretted killing a 19-year-old woman in Roxbury, on the Roxbury-Dorchester line years ago, when he was aiming for a bouncer whose name came up in today's testimony, by the way. That case came up today when they were trying to also connect Martirano to Flemmi. But with Stephen Flemmi, I don't know what you saw, Anthony. I saw not an ounce of remorse. I saw only regret of some sort. Regret, but not remorse.
I think, though, I mean, and I agree somewhat with the defense in the sense that Flemmi is trying to divert, the attention from himself and saying that everything happened at the assistance of Jim Bulger. And some of that is true, some of it's not. He's obviously trying to put some distance between himself and the acts. But at the early murders, I don't think he has any remorse. That was a kill or be killed situation as far as he's concerned. I think he did show remorse about the two women. He did not. He said, I will live with that to the day I die. I've had a guilt trip today was the word he used from the 60s. I'm on a guilt trip from that event. And and all that had to happen, though, he said, was Bulger, all he had to say was one word, 4 letters, pass, and it wouldn't have happened. I waited for him to say it. He controlled it, and he did not say pass.
Who knows anything, by the way, about the death of Stephen Rakes? I know you've been looking into it, and Tony, you've had a little bit of information on it, too. Do you know anything? Is there anything new?
There's a lot of information out there, and whether that information is credible is a different question. We know, again, just to recapitulate some of the facts, he was found without his wallet. He was found without his car. He was found on the side of a road. The state police also, I understand, by the way, looked beyond the entrance of the Cambridge Reservoir, where he was found, and actually went inside. I don't know if that information is out there yet. Have actually gone inside the reservoir to, and what they were looking for, I'm not sure. I was in South Boston today. All types of rumors are flying. Again, it's a question of whether or not what they're saying is credible. But almost everyone I've spoken with believes his death is suspicious.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question it's a suspicious event. I do believe wholeheartedly, however, though it had nothing to do with this particular case. Whatever was going on in his life that we don't know about is what they're focusing on. They're not. I know this for a fact that the investigation, and representing his ex-wife Julie and the mother of their children, I do know the way the investigation's going, and their investigation is not one bit focused on this trial.
All right. You've been right so far, so I'll take that one to the bank. All right, Tony Cardinale, Philip Martin, thanks so much.
Thanks, Emil.